all the people in the town was $5,000.
That's just crazy.
They would have to do bake sales and all that kind of stuff to raise extra money. And in in one night, we raised $14,000, and we gave Meals on Wheels 14 grand. And I mean, they couldn't believe it. It was like a godsend to them, and it felt good to be able to help out. And now, the elderly that are in that program can have more than one meal a day.
Yeah.
And, because I mean, hey, I'm not that far from that whole thing myself, but and a lot of the other guys, I mean, we've got a lot of members that are, quite a bit older than me, but
Yeah.
you
They
know,
got a lot of support.
yeah, yep. So, and hey, so how about that West Coast Choppers bike you're building?
Yeah. So, well, you got all the stuff in Daytona to do the paint. I started that bike about 5 years ago when I found the frame on eBay,
Yep.
the Open MSO frame from 2007, and I had wanted one of those bikes my whole life, but they were really really expensive when they were first coming out, and they just stayed expensive.
Yeah.
And when I found the frame, I thought, well, I've got enough resources to get it built. Maybe I should just try to build it. Well,
Yeah.
it took 5 years to collect. It took 5 years to collect all the legit parts. I mean,
Yeah.
the air clean. I found parts in every nook and cranny, and I mean, some of the hamsters helped me source some parts, and my buddy Justin Ums, who runs our store in Arizona, called me. I was complaining one day on the phone to him, and I said, "Man, I cannot find Ford controls to save my life." Bill Radcliffe actually called Jesse and asked if he had any. I couldn't find controls to save my life, and Justin Ums, I was complaining to him, and he goes, I think I might have a set of those in a box. And so literally I found parts by having conversations like that for 5 years to finally
Yeah.
get the bike put together. And I'm pretty excited. So Sturgis is the goal to get that thing unveiled and on the road.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be so cool to ride that thing in Sturgis, huh?
Yeah, we're almost there, and I'm lucky because I mean, working in the Harley store, I've got professional guys in the back, and they get so bored with cake decorating all the accessories on the new Harleys and stuff that they get excited when something like this, is sitting in the shop. So I have a lot of really good mechanics who will put together a really good bike for us, and I'm excited to unveil it. But I'm really excited for your paint, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we'll make it look
I,
good.
I had I had to get special permission, from Ashley to get that sourced out.
Oh, I bet you did. I bet you did. That must cost you.
She
What do you
said
have
only
for motor?
she said only because it's Dave. Anybody else, I'd be upset. Oh, you there?
Okay. Yep.
So the motor is cool. Like, so when SNS released their 60th anniversary motors, they built 60 nickel-plated 124s,
Oh,
and
okay.
I was fortunate enough to get number 9 of that motor, and
Yeah.
that's gonna be the power plant in that bike, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine who collects a lot of that West Coast stuff, and he was telling me he bought a kickstand. Do you have a West Coast Choppers kickstand?
I do.
He was telling me he just bought one, $900 for a kickstand.
Yeah,
I
I got lucky. My buddy Justin had a kickstand as well, and so I
yeah,
got 4 controls and a kickstand from him, and he took good care of me.
yeah.
I'm happy that I got the friend and family discount on those parts.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, it's that stuff. And it's funny. I think almost every chopper that Jesse built had flames on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost every one.
It was definitely a thing for those bikes.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll keep the tradition going.
Yep. I'm pretty excited. You know, it's an open MSO, so it'll be titled as a 2023 CF West Coast Chopper, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because how many of those are out there? You know, titled that way. There can't be many.
Oh, yeah. So now, what do you have to do to title that?
So North Carolina is pretty simple. I have to have all the paperwork on the motor, the transmission, and the frame. I
Yeah.
have to document the build process. They have forms for that, and then they come in and they stamp it, and then they generate one title. Once I finish the bike, and the DMV inspector inspects it. So,
Yeah. So they come right to your dealership.
oh yeah. They
Oh,
make it pretty easy. As you're not, if you're not being squirrely, they make it easy.
yeah. Right. Right. If you don't say you bought all the parts at a swap meet, you're okay, right?
that, that But yeah,
Uh,
the major parts are the transmission, the motor, and the frame. As long as you have
yeah.
paperwork on those three, you're good. You're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be something that, it'll be quite a conversation piece on the showroom, huh?
Yeah, and and I feel like amongst the hamsters, like most of the hamsters have that bike where everybody goes, "Oh yeah, that's Mark's bike. Yeah, that's Donnie's bike. That's Mulaney's bike."
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the one for me. And um, it's just I want to say it's my because I put so much effort and blood, sweat, and tears into putting it together.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah. Well,
Everything's for
play.
sale if the price.
Yeah. I
So
mean, who knows? Somebody might come along that has to have it.
yeah, you never know.
Right.
I'm in
Right.
sales. Every
Yeah.
Just about everything sale.
Yeah. So how is speaking of sales, so how is Harley Davidson doing delivering bikes to you?
So we're definitely off to a better start than last year.
Yeah.
Last year we had a lot of struggles with it. I mean, there was times when we would have 2, 3, 5 bikes on the showroom floor at the end of the month, and we're definitely not having that issue this year. The motor company has resolved a lot of the problems that they were having with the supply chain, and we have inventory to sell. So that's the good news. Um,
Yeah.
However, now we have the economy, right? Everyone's
Yeah.
freaking out over the economy, so sales are a little tougher to put together than they were a year ago, and you're seeing some margins shrink because of that to keep the volume levels up. But I would rather be today than a year ago, because a year ago we were literally running out of motorcycles to sell, and
Yeah.
we don't have that issue currently. So I'm grateful for that. And now they're releasing these special edition bikes. I think somebody leaked the new CVO pictures on the internet. I don't know if you saw that. The new
No, I did.
the new CVO Road Glide and the CVO Street Glide. That's going to be sounds like a mid-year release.
Huh.
Uh, so the Harley Davidson is definitely doing their part, and they kind of shifted their marketing a little bit to where they're kind of embracing that younger generation a little bit more, and doing a lot of stuff. I know Jody's doing some stuff with them, and Dan's doing some stuff with them. They're doing a lot of stuff that's reaching those the social channels. And as skeptical as a lot of dealers were, I feel like Daytona shows that it's working,
Yeah.
and that there's definitely drumming up some interest in the next generation of riders who maybe spent all their childhood in video games, whereas you and I were on dirt bikes and stuff. And I'm happy to report that I feel like that's a positive move. And I know they got a lot of heat from the dealer network when they started some of this stuff, and it's nice to see that it's working. So
Well, I mean, we really do need to focus on the younger generation of riders. Um,
yeah,
you know, of course, I mean, the main question that everybody asks, oh, well, what's the next up and coming style? And, what's the next trend? And, I mean, who knows what the next trend, performance baggers, the new Softails are great. I love the new Softails. And,
yeah,
I think it's kind of a variety. I don't think that and then of course, we got to talk about all the older stuff. I mean,
Right.
the older choppers and even the pro streets, all that stuff's coming back.
It is. Yeah, there was a ton of it in Daytona. It was awesome to see how many choppers and pro streets and stuff are running around out there. And now's the time to grab that because they're cheap.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, did you go to Warren Lane's show?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, Warren Lane's show was it was a True Grit is the name of it, and
Yep.
it was mostly old choppers. And man, it was packed. And I mean, there was a lot of really cool stuff there. And it was all everyday rider choppers and a lot of old stuff that had been coming back. There's a big market for that coming back right now.
I'm friends with a lot of the guys in the industry that built the baggers, right?
Yeah.
And every one of those guys has a chopper order right now that they're working on themselves. Like it's pretty cool, because they send me the pictures. They're like, "What do you think about this? This is new to me. Is this a good barn find?" And and everyone got a bike that I'm like, if you get tired of it, just call me first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's coming along really well. Then there's all those guys in that are going to Arizona Bike Week that's got that chopper and friends. So I forget what they called it.
The chopper friends. Yeah.
Chopper friends throwdown. And there's probably 15 guys that are all building choppers to bring to Arizona Bike Week. And there's, it's just a little competition between them all. Yeah. There's no rewards other than look at my new chopper.
Right. Yeah, they're spending a ton of energy and a ton of money on that contest too. It's my friend John that I mentioned earlier, he's actually doing one for that.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's also doing a CFL. I see a lot of CFLs getting built this year.
Really?
I don't know what the resurgence is or why. Maybe the frames became available or whatever, but I think RK rode a blue one last year, I think, to Daytona. Was the first time I saw his.
Who's that?
He rode that blue West Coast.
Oh, yeah,
in Daytona last year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody's like, I'm building one. And now there's a bunch of them out there getting built. So it's going to be an interesting year as these things come out.
Yeah, I wonder what Jesse. I wonder how many frames he built.
Yeah, I'd be curious. And I wonder what he thinks about like the resurgence after all these years to where now it's even his stuff has really come back around.
Oh, to say the least. And I'm sure that he's loving it,
Yeah. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there's so many of them. I didn't think that he made that many frames,
I like a lot of people maybe wanted to build one because they couldn't afford one of his shop bikes, and it's just easier said than done, right? So a lot of people up over the years, maybe those frames are popping up for sale now. I'm not sure.
It's funny. I had one of Jesse's very first pro street frames. And he had sent it to me when he first started making them. I mean, it was like right off the table. And, I built that bike as a pro street. And one of my buddies, I built it for one of my buddies. He rode it for a few years. And then he sold it to a guy, it's probably going back 10 years ago now. And it was still mint. And that guy had it for a while. And then the guy passed away, and I got a call to buy it. And geez, I could have bought it really right. But it was at the time, it was like, and, I don't know whatever happened to it. But, I'm thinking now I should have bought that bike.
Well, it'll be interesting as these bikes come out and other people bring out what they have. I think we've got a lot of hands that have got some of his stuff still.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm
So
sure.
it'll be a fun year to watch and see
Yeah.
how that all develops with the chopper scene.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I've got 2 choppers that I'm building for 2 different guys, a flat side shovel and a panhead. It'll be a long process, but
Yeah.
there works. And then I just bought. I think I had told you I just bought a chopper that I built about 10 years ago for a guy who never had a driver's license and he never drove it. I mean, literally, the bike has never been. It's probably got maybe 5 miles on it. It's relatively new. So I'm working on that now. I just had to pull a carburetor apart, clean out the gas tanks, and that'll be for sale. So if anybody's looking for a chopper, I've got one that will be up for sale before long, and the price will be right.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll have to spread the word on that because those things are gonna, as this craze happens, those things are gonna get pricier and pricier, just like everything else has.
Yeah. Hey, how about the used bike market? How's that going for you?
So used bike market's pretty volatile right now. I the values went through the roof for a while, and
Right.
I mean, going to the auction, it was very difficult to find a deal anymore. You were just buying bikes to stock inventory, and if you could make a couple pennies on it, you were doing good. But the
Yeah.
bike market has started to get back into a healthier place as the new inventory has grown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like, especially last month. Last month the values dropped quite a bit. I mean, you had a 18, 19 touring bike drop a couple grand in the book from one month to the next based on the value.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a good thing. I mean, we don't want it to get so unhealthy that it kind of stops the flow of everything. I mean, we want the values to be good and we want the values to be high. But when you start competing with new bike prices on used bikes, that's never a good thing for the consumer, because eventually that changes, and anybody who bought a bike when they were too high is going to be upside down in their purchase, and we don't really want to. That's not good for long term business. So I'm happy to see that the market's kind of fixing itself, and Harley's really helping with that in dictating their allocation process and what they make available to sell for new. That they're really focused on both sides of the coin. For years, Harley was all about new bike, new bike, new bike, new bike. And over the last couple of years, they have decided that is short-sighted, and they really need to help us with that used bike market so that we continue to get ridership in there. I mean, a lot of people may not know this yet, but there is a Harley Davidson certified pre-owned program out there now. And it works a lot like the stuff in the car industry where you can buy a certified pre-owned car and you get a little better warranty. And the bike has been through more scrutiny at the dealership before it gets listed for sale. And that's a Harley driven product. You get a little better interest rate when you finance that product. And I think that things like that is really healthy for sales and for the customer.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it. Prices were getting crazy. As far as used, I mean, I follow it pretty closely, and I mean, I just couldn't believe how much they were getting. Like shovel heads. I mean, you couldn't even touch a shovel head for under 5,000 or 6,000. I mean that's almost overnight.
Yep.
I mean, you could buy shovel heads all day long between $2,000 and $3,000. All of a sudden, they were $5,000 to $6,000.
Yep. Yep. It got out of hand big time. I mean, you helped me get some used bikes. We were in such need to stock inventory at one point. I bought a couple bikes that you were finding locally, and we sold that Silver Heritage that Heritage a couple days ago.
Oh, really? You had it all that time?
Yeah. It took a little time. Those bikes are awesome bikes, but those Heritage Deluxe, it's a very weird place right now because a lot of customers towards the new Softails and the lowriders instead of buying those bikes. So that area is in a weird place right now in terms of value and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, how about Laura's old bike was in Daytona?
I know it. We sold that to a customer out of New York. I came from New York to Daytona.
Oh yeah,
So
no kidding.
you traded it in here.
Sorry, yeah.
In here. We sold it to New York, and then he trailered it to Daytona. She was pretty weirded out by that. She saw that bike running around the streets.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, she loved that bike, and then seeing that somebody else driving it down the street, you know what I mean? But
her new bike is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she absolutely loves that new bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
She loved it. You know, she couldn't be happier with it, you know.
Well, the flame job on it is awesome. That color you did, it is incredible.
Well, I haven't done that color in a long, long time. And, you know, it was like, you know what? It's time. And you know what's funny? I really didn't know what I was going to do for a paint job on it, right? I mean, I really had planned on putting graphics on it. And I had a guy send me a gas tank, a guy from Florida. He sent me a gas tank and said, I want a flame job, and I'm going to just hang it in my man cave. And I said, okay, what do you like? He says, I really like shades of blue. So I said, well, you know what? I'll just do, you know, silver and blue flames. And the job came out. I loved the job when it was done. I said, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing on Laura's bike. So that was kind of crazy, you know?
Well, I mean, it's appropriate. So, you know, you are the king of flames, so it's appropriate.
Yeah. Well, you know, I love doing flames. You know, it's really my favorite thing. And so, you know, as long as I can keep doing them, that's fine with me, you know?
Well, I thought it was pretty awesome for Millhouse to show up with that Road Glide with the Lucky Strike paint job. And it was flames. And I think it took first or second place in graphics, or it took a trophy in one of the categories.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, that's a testament, because I remember, not to talk about like insider stuff, but I remember when everyone was kind of going through the different bikes. I said, I don't know if that bike has enough graphics for Dave to say that's a graphic trophy winner. And it's also flames. So it's going to, you know, Dave's going to give it some pretty big scrutiny. It's a flame job. Yeah. And it made us feel good when we brought all the stuff to you and you said, no, that is an awesome paint job. The flame work is amazing. So that's a testament to them for sure.
Yeah, no, it was a nice job. You know, they did a really nice job on it. And I mean, there was so many paint jobs there that were amazing. And, you know, after every time we do a paint show, I always regret not looking closer at more of them. But you know what it's like. I'm getting pulled in so many different directions. We got so much going on that I'll go to focus on a job, just like pictures. I went to start taking pictures. You know, I want to take pictures of a lot of bikes. Yeah. I get to like 2 bikes, and then somebody, hey, can you come over here? And can you come over there? And, you know, I never end up finishing what I start out to do, you know?
Yeah. You know, we have a name for that. It's called Parowitz time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No kidding.
Whenever we move from point A to point B, we have to allow the time for that to happen. But I'm telling you, it's a testament to you, Dave, because, you know, I worked for Ray Price for a lot of years, and Ray used to always get pulled in different directions at the drag race strip and stuff for autographs. And
I bet.
You know, he always told me, if you're lucky enough for a person to want a photo with you or to want your signature, it's your obligation to give it to them.
Yeah, it's true.
And he really believed that, and you live by that, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, it is a good feeling. So, well, listen, Mark, I won't take up any more of your time. I think we've had a good conversation here.
Yeah.
Touched on a lot of items. Willie's show. We didn't talk about Willie's show.
No, we didn't, and it was packed. You couldn't even move around the
Yeah.
bikes.
Yeah, I mean, I love Willie's Tropical Tattoo Show.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorites. I get to see not only the bikes, but a lot of people that I only get to see there.
yeah.
And it was so crowded. It was really hard getting around. I made it around maybe a couple of times, and then I just couldn't. Everybody's tripping over each other, but that's a great show. If you like looking at old choppers and stuff like that, boy, Willie's is the show to go to.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. One of my so when Ray Price made me his general manager, he introduced me to the 4 old school Harley dealers in North Carolina. Don Tilley, which a lot of people know.
Don.
One of them was Shelton Davis.
Oh,
and Shelton's Harley Davidson. I've been to many. Shelton and I have stories for days when Ray used to make me go with the old school dealers on rides and stuff, and they would still be raising all kinds of hell, and I would be the young guy to have to help them through it and stuff.
Kid.
I never knew until the show that Shelton's brother is Roadside Marty.
I know.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he came to he came to the Smokeout, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Smokeout is where I learned that. In the Smokeout is where I learned that those 2 were brothers. And I just all these years.
Yeah. When you saw Shelton with Roadside saying, "What are you guys doing together?"
I know. Why do you guys look alike now that you're side by side? I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's a small world, isn't it?
And then, Shelton's dad has got his own bench there at Willie's reserved for him.
Oh, I know.
I've never met a guy that had so many pretty girls around him. That was incredible.
Oh, I know. Always. Well, Marty, I think Marty kind of arranges that,
Well, it works good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely working for sure. So, well, listen, we're going to wrap this up. Mark,
all right.
It was good talking to you. This is another show. We're all set. And thanks to Indian Motorcycles and Law Tigers. And Jody will be, hopefully, she'll be back next week. Well, next Thursday, we'll be in Minnesota for the Donnie Smith show. So I'm flying from here. She's flying from Texas. So somewhere in the middle, we'll do the show.
Pretty awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, Dave.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mark. And I will talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. We'll see you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.